Man has always had the curiosity to explore the unknown. Ever since they got into space, they've looked back at Earth to find more secrets. Space has become easier and easier to explore as new technologies are developed. So going back to Earth to find things that have never been explored has now become a priority. We now know more about space than what's back home on our planet. The space race is the biggest reason why so many advances have been made in space exploration. When the US and the U.S.S.R were in competition to get into the space first, however, in the late 1950s, both Russia and US decided to start digging deep into the Earth to try and make some discoveries about the world we live in. Welcome back to another episode of High Technology. Join the club as we unravel high-end technologies on the planet by subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting videos in the future. Today, we'll find out how this discovery came to be and why the world's largest hole was secretly abandoned and sealed. The lakes, forests, mists, and snow of the Kola Peninsula deep in the Arctic Circle can make this corner of Russia seem like a scene from a fairy tale. Yet amidst the natural beauty stand the ruins of an absorbed Soviet scientific research station. In the middle of the crumbling building is a heavy, rusty metal cap embedded in the concrete floor, secured by a ring of thick and equally rusty metal bolts. According to some, this is the entrance to hell. The Soviet Union called a scientific drilling project Kola's Super Deep Borehole. It is situated on the Kola Peninsula's Penchesky district, not far from the Russian-Norwegian border. The project's initial objective was to dig into the Earth's crust as far as humanly practicable. Drilling started on May 24th, 1970 with the aid of the Ural-Mash 4E drilling rig, and then later the Ural-Mash 15,000 series drilling rig was used for the same reason. The Kola Super Deep Borehole held the record for being the deepest man-made hole in history in 1979. 23-centimeter diameter boreholes were drilled by branching from a central hull. The deepest hole was designated the deepest man-made point on Earth in 1989 after sinking to a depth of 12,262 meters. In terms of genuine vertical depth, it is the deepest borehole ever discovered. Additionally, it held the record for the longest borehole in the world based on measured depth for 2 decades before being overtaken in 2008 by the 12,289 meter long Al Shaheen oil well in Qatar. A serial drilling rig known as Ural-Mash 4E that was used for oil drilling was utilized when drilling first started in 1970, but it had been slightly modified so that it could reach a depth of over 7,000 meters. In 1974, the Ural-Mash 15,000, a brand new, specifically designed drilling rig, was set up on the job site. It was given the moniker since the revised target depth was 15,000 meters. The Bertha Rogers hole in Washita County, Oklahoma broke the world record in June 1979 with the Kola Super Deep Borehole. Amazingly, the Bertha Rogers hole was 9,583 meters deep. In October 1982, the first hole was drilled to a depth of 11,662 meters, and in January 1983, drilling for the second hole started. Drilling was put on hold for a year to celebrate reaching 12,000 meters in the second hole, which was 12,000 meters deeper than the first hole, which was 9,300 feet deep. Numerous scientific and celebratory visits were made to the location during this time. The collapse that happened after drilling restarted in 1984 was influenced by this halt in production. A 5,000mm section of the drill string that had been cut off on September 27, 1984 was left in the hole at a depth of 12,066 meters. In September 1986, drilling recommenced 7,000 meters from the original hole. In 1989, the third hole was dug all the way down to 12,262 meters. Even if this was less than geologists had anticipated, it was nonetheless a success. The drilling of a fourth hole was restarted from a depth of 9,653 meters in the third hole in June 1990 after a second breakdown. It was suspended after 11,882 meters in April 1992. In April 1994, drilling on the third hole, which was 8,278 meters deep, was resumed. Due to a lack of funding, the drilling was permanently terminated in August of 1994. Unexpectedly high temperatures were present at this depth and location. Experts had predicted that the temperature would only rise to 100 degrees Celsius, but it really reached 180 degrees. They understood that it would be impossible to drill further. At this level, the Earth's density suddenly fell, its porosity increased, and the high temperatures had caused the rocks to act almost like plastic, making drilling challenging to impossible. The lowest Paleozoic rocks were reached by the Kola Super Deep Borehole after it had pierced the continental crust of the Baltic Shield by a third. The crust of the Baltic Shield continental plate is around 35 kilometers thick. It has been decided to conduct significant geophysical investigations on this project. When scientists discovered that there was no transition from granite to basalt at depths of about 7 kilometers, where the seismic wave velocity showed discontinuity, they were quite perplexed. They came to understand that the real cause of this variation in seismic wave velocity was the metamorphic transition in the granite rock. In addition, the rock there was deeply broken and saturated with water. Unlike surface water, however, this water originated from deep crust minerals but was prevented from rising to the surface by the layer of impermeable rock that was above it. The vast quantities of hydrogen gas was another odd discovery. The drilling mud coming out of the hole was characterized as boiling with hydrogen by the scientists due to the hydrogen's abundance. In 1992, a seismic crustal cross-section was successfully obtained from the well by a global geophysical experiment. Researchers from the universities of Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland, the University of Bergen in Norway, and other Russian Earth scientific research institutions made the working group COLA 92 together with many other volunteers from many various specialties. A thorough video of the experiment was captured by Professor David Smith. The research teams were moved to COLA Super Deep, a federal state unitary subsidiary enterprise, when the drilling was completely finished in 1995. Their focus was changed to a thorough examination of the exposed portion of the Earth's crust. The scientific team was permanently disbanded in 2007, and the equipment was divided between a partial liquidation and a partial transfer to a private company. Even the company was liquidated in 2009 due to its lack of profitability. The site of the COLA Super Deep borehole was completely deserted. The COLA Super Deep borehole SG3, however, still holds the record for the deepest artificial point on Earth with an astonishing depth of 12,262 meters. Truthfully, the scientists didn't think they'd uncover any evidence of life that far down in the Earth's crust, but as with every other site they've explored, nature surprised them with its enigmatic and mighty ways. Even though there was nothing alive that deep, they did discover fossilized plankton. Although the geological information gleaned from this unfathomably deep hole is eye-opening. The discoveries about paleontology completely caught everyone off guard. Fossils thought to be at least 2 billion years old were found nearly 6.4 kilometers below the COLA Super Deep borehole. Despite the harsh climatic conditions in the hole, these minuscule plankton fossils were largely unharmed when they were discovered. These fossils allowed scientists to estimate the presence of at least 25 different kinds of plankton at the depth in the Earth. According to specialists, they would have discovered more species if they had continued their exploration. Organic material that surrounds these organisms turned out to be remarkably resistant to the environment down the hole. The drilling was stopped before more information about the biodiversity in the Earth's interior could be discovered. The powerful Soviet Union's collapse is often cited as the reason it came to an end. Although most scientists believed it was only one of several contributing causes, some scientists think it's only fair that some type of life managed to adapt and survive here in the past because water was discovered there. The water was created as a result of an unlikely case. The water had nowhere to go because of the solid rock layer that lay above due to the intense pressure that drove oxygen and hydrogen atoms out of the rock. Many conspiracy theorists also speculated that Russia's decision to halt the project may have been influenced by the finding of these plankton fossils. The COLA Super Deep borehole project wasn't actually abandoned for this reason. In actuality, it got too hot to drill much more. In reality, it was noted at the time that the equipment suffered greatly from the heat. Despite this, some theorists have even claimed that the Soviets continued to excavate long after their country was divided into several separate nations. This is inaccurate, however, as there is proof that the entire area was sealed and anyone may actually go to the site to verify it. The sedimentary rocks discovered at depths of up to 6,800 meters were also dated by this excavation to the Proterozoic epoch, which began about 2.4 billion years ago. It appears that the deeper granitic layers were formed as early as 2.7 billion years ago during the first geologic era. The Earth is enriched in lithium, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide in addition to hydrogen and oxygen, all of which were discovered in the borehole. Even though the Earth's crust is the smallest layer, drilling into it hasn't yet been accomplished by humans. However, even if we tried to drill the inner core, we'd have to go through solid iron, which in theory should be simple. Due to the nearly zero gravity found close to the Earth's core, this would actually be rather challenging. Even though the COLA Super Deep hole is extraordinarily deep, it has only penetrated the Earth's crust by a third. But at the time, that was the furthest anyone had traveled. Today, travelers seeking excitement visit the lowly site of the formerly thrilling COLA Super Deep borehole. Before it was permanently shut down in 2005 because of a lack of funding, the project experienced its fair share of ups and downs. Although the drilling and research equipment has been removed from the site, the information gained from the hole is still being examined by specialists scientists all over the world. The hull was then welded shut and covered with a metal top, which is still visible today. Even though the Kola borehole project was short-lived, scientists continued to try to delve further into the Earth. Researchers traveled through seismic plates and experienced temperatures as high as 315 degrees Celsius, but the German continental deep drilling effort in Bavaria in 1990 kept the legacy alive. However, even the Germans were unable to travel below 6 miles because they ran out of money. Drilling platforms from the International Ocean Discovery Program continue to dig deeper into the seafloor. Researchers are still battling against seemingly insurmountable obstacles, such as failing equipment and extreme temperatures. However, it is clear that there are many secrets just waiting to be uncovered. Who knows what we will find out at the center of the Earth? What do you think could lie more beyond the farthest hole we have dug? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting videos like this. This has been High Technology, serving you the best and cutting edge contents on the highest form of technology available on the planet. Until then, see you!